So today is Purple Day, which is an awareness day for Epilepsy Ireland. So I'm going to come on and talk a bit about my journey with epilepsy. So I was 22, I'm 23 now, this was last November, so it's a very recent diagnosis for me. I was 22 and honestly before I was diagnosed I had no idea what epilepsy was. Like I always thought it was a sensitivity to lights and sounds, which can present like that in some cases, but it just goes to show how little I knew about it. Like seizures can present themselves in so many different ways and can affect people differently, and basically everyone's journey with epilepsy is just completely different. It was quite a tough week for me because I just recovered from a viral infection. I had been drinking like 4 or 5 days the week before because it was like our reading week and my boyfriend won the championship, so we were just out loads. My dog actually died as well the day before I got my first seizure. So I was in work that day, the day that it happened, and the only way I can describe it is I felt really weird, but I just put it down to like grieving the loss of my dog. And I hadn't really eaten all day because like I just felt like that sick feeling in my stomach, kind of just like being upset or whatever. And I remember like people talking to me and I kind of like couldn't really concentrate on the conversation. Like I remember somebody said something to me and I was like, I genuinely just couldn't think of a response. I was like, I'm so sorry, like my head's just all over the place today. But apart from that, I mean, like there was no major signs. Nothing like this ever happened to me before in my life. I'd never even fainted before in my life. So at the end of the day, I got up to go home, and that's the last thing I remember is standing up from my chair. And then apparently, from what I've heard, I fainted and hit my head. I had a big bump on the side of my head and I had a black eye for like over a month because of it. It was actually such a dramatic black eye as well. I took my first seizure. I don't remember anything from it. I remember waking up in work and they'd called an ambulance, and then the ambulance didn't come for like an hour and a half, so they were like, my manager just took me to the hospital in the end. It's all kind of a bit of a blur for me. I do remember it, but like it's fuzzy, do you know what I mean? I remember getting to the hospital and they put me in a wheelchair because they were scared that I'd fall again. So I went in to see the triage nurse, and then I took my second seizure in there. Don't remember anything from that again. Just remember waking up on a trolley in A&E. And then basically after that, I was in hospital for a week, but because they were like trying to figure out why I had the seizures or whatever. In the end, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And this was because I took more than one seizure within 24 hours. But then I also got an EEG, which showed that I had epilepsy as well. So for me, like, it was such a big shock because number one, I didn't know what epilepsy was really. And number two, I was so confused that I was literally 22 and it was just coming on all of a sudden. It hasn't consumed my whole life. It's been a big adjustment. So I've had to start taking medication in the morning and evening, and it's really important that I don't miss them. The medication also has some side effects, which are tiredness. Tiredness is the big one, to be honest, and I'm really struggling with that because I'm in final year. The triggers, which honestly I had no idea about, are stress, tiredness, and drinking alcohol. So obviously I still do. I still go out and enjoy myself, but you just have to be really careful. And the biggest adjustment for me has been not being able to drive. So you have to be seizure free for a year to be able to drive, and honestly this has been such a big change for me. I was driving for 4 years. I had my own car. Since like those 4 years I've had my own car. I've been so independent, and it's been hard having to rely on people for lifts and stuff, but I've become a bit of a passenger princess, and it will have to stay that way until November, hopefully, fingers crossed. November, but things are looking good so far. But that's basically all I wanted to say. I don't even know if anyone will listen to this, but if anyone does that doesn't know anything about epilepsy, I think it'll be really helpful because I would like to hear this before I was ever diagnosed. And I feel like it's something that when I say to people I have epilepsy, they're like, whoa, and like they get really awkward, but like I just don't think there should be like a stigma like that around it. So yeah, that's basically it.